Hi, welcome. I'm Gabby from GoNaturalEnglish.com. What's your name? If you're here to improve your English conversation skills, you are in the right place. This is so exciting because today I am releasing 8 special conversations that I had with my colleague and good friend Brittany from when we were both teaching English in Japan. This was a few years ago, but the conversations are still relevant and very helpful for you to learn vocabulary, idioms, phrases as they naturally occur in everyday conversation. After each small section of conversation, I teach you the key phrases and vocabulary so that you fully understand the meaning and how to use these key words. This is going to really help you to level up your conversation skills. It's like observing a real life conversation and having me there right with you to explain everything. So this is so great. We're going to jump into the conversations, and all I ask of you is if you have questions or comments, please leave them in the comments. I want to hear from you. And I have an additional suggestion. If you want a pronunciation challenge, you can try shadowing along with Brittany and me by reading along. There's subtitles in each conversation for you to follow along with, not only reading, but you can also speak them, say them out loud, and practice your speaking. So this is a full, complete lesson for you. I hope that you enjoy it. So if you're ready, then let's go. Hello, Brittany. How are you?
I'm fine.
Great, great. I'm really excited you're here with us today. We have some mutual friends online, and I reached out to you, and I'm so happy you came over to talk with us. So, can you tell me a little bit about you?
Well, I'm from Las Vegas.
Nice.
I was born and raised.
The city of sin?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, is that offensive?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. It's just the stereotype is like casinos, gambling, prostitution. Is it legal there?
No, it's just fun.
Okay,
Just
okay.
Casinos
Just
and
fun.
Gambling.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I don't mean to go to a place that shouldn't go, but that's the stereotype about the city. So it's a fun city, but obviously if you're from there, you're not going to the casino every day, right?
No.
All right. So you're born and raised in Las Vegas. Tell me a little bit what it's like to live there, not as a tourist.
Well, as a tourist, we still do the regular stuff like all of you guys. We go to school.
Yeah.
Some of us go to church. There is a church in Las Vegas.
I want to say hallelujah. That's good. You don't picture Las Vegas and churches, except to get married, like the Elvis churches, right? That's famous. Cool. Okay, so school, church, and regular people things.
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. You're from Las Vegas in the U.S., and did you come straight out here to Tokyo from Las Vegas?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to ask you a little bit about your interests and your hobbies and kind of what you like to do. So let me ask you that in the next lesson.
Yes.
Hey there, welcome to the Fluent in 15 Conversations series. This is the first breakdown lesson of the first conversation between Brittany and myself. So I'm going to focus on a few interesting phrases and other things that happen in the conversation that I'd like you to learn and use as soon as possible. So let's take a look behind me here. One phrase that I use in the conversation is, I reached out to Brittany. So when you reach out to someone, of course, reach is to extend your arm, right? When you reach out to someone, you are contacting them. You are contacting them and going out of your way to talk to that person. So I did not know Brittany very well, but I reached out to her because I wanted to talk to her. And I wanted to share our conversation with you. Next, tell me a little about you. This is a great statement. It's actually not a question, it's a request to find out more about someone who you want to get to know. So you can ask this question, tell me a little bit about you. Let me hear you ask it. Request, tell me a little bit about you. Great, and you may hear this question, so be ready to answer it. As you can hear, as you can see, Brittany answers by saying where she's from. You may also answer by saying what you do, what your interests are, okay? There are a lot of different ways you can answer this question. Just think about what you want to share with other people. Next, born and raised. So this is a great phrase when you want to say, I'm from, for example, I'm from Las Vegas, born and raised, which means you were born and you were raised in that city. But we shorten this and we often just say born and raised, which means you didn't move around to a lot of different cities. Okay. Is that offensive? So I asked Brittany because I'm worried that my question was offensive. This is really natural even for native speakers from the same country, okay? So I would encourage you to ask this question if you're worried that something you asked might be offensive. It's okay to ask. Tell me what it's like. What it's like means to describe, to detail. Tell me what it's like. What is it like to live in Las Vegas? So you're asking for more detail and description. Did you come straight out here from there, or from Las Vegas? So to come straight from here, here to here from there, right? To come straight here from there, imagine coming from Las Vegas to Tokyo, if I'm in Tokyo right now. That means you didn't stop to travel, you didn't stop to live in any other places. So to go straight or to come straight, all right? So of course, go is to move away from you, come is to move closer to you, the speaker. All right, so I hope that these questions, these phrases are helpful to focus on. I encourage you to repeat them after me. You can pause the video and then play it again as many times as you want, and use these phrases as soon as you can. Use them several times, many times, like 50 times. Say them to yourself. Talk to yourself in your mind. Use them with other English speakers. Write a story. Make a recording. You can be creative and use these phrases many times so that you remember them and you feel comfortable using them. So thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next conversation in lesson 2, where we get to know Brittany a little bit more. See you there. Bye for now. All right, so Brittany, I'd like to ask you, what are you into?
Well, I'm into ballroom dancing, like the tango,
No
the
way!
waltz, salsa.
I love dancing too. I love salsa and like Latin dance. Do you know other kinds of Latin dance?
Just the merengue and the salsa.
Nice! That's awesome. Okay, so why do you love to dance?
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Well, you're also an English teacher, right?
Yes.
So I feel like English teaching can sometimes be a lot of like thinking.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But dance is a lot of like physical movement.
Yes, and feeling it.
Yeah.
Feel it.
Yeah, exactly. It's great to just feel the groove and like move your body. And this is kind of a sidetrack, but I feel like taking dance classes can be a good way to meet people too. Mm-hmm. Right? Cool. Do you like to dance? Anything else that you're into?
I like to play taiko.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, tell me a little bit about taiko. Like,
see, when I was in high school, I saw those people play taiko, and I thought it was so cool, like the beats and how they get into it, and
very cool.
everything, and how they would just move their body, and go like this.
It's like a dance and playing drums. Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've always loved taiko. Well, since I knew about it, the first time
first or second time I lived in Japan. Now this is my third time living in Japan. It's been several times now, but I remember seeing a taiko performance and it just rocked me. I felt the beat like in my heart. I actually felt it like boom, boom, boom. It was crazy. I loved it though. So you actually play.
Yes.
Super cool. I play guitar. You can probably see my guitar case over there, but that's it for musical instruments. But I like to dance, I like to play music. Do you like travel?
I love to travel.
How cool. Well, we're both in Tokyo, Japan right now.
Yes.
So obviously we like to travel a little bit if we're both outside of the US right now, but I'd love to ask you more about your love of travel the next lesson.
Yes.
All right. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed talking about interests with Brittany and with me. Now, when you want to have a conversation asking someone about interests or sharing your interests, the best way to ask is this: what are you into? You could ask, what are you interested in? But I recommend, this is really common, you'll probably hear this if you speak with native English speakers. What are you into? So let me hear you say it. What are you into? Awesome. All right, another phrase that I use is I feel like. Now, typically we use this phrase to make a comparison, right? I feel like a happy child. I feel like, I feel like sleeping. So you feel that you want to do something. However, I use this phrase in a different way, right? When I want to express my opinion. I feel like, now I don't remember what I said exactly in the conversation, but I could say, for example, I feel like Japan is very famous for ninjas and sushi. I'm just expressing my opinion, that's all. So you can use I feel like to express your opinion, not only your feelings, and not only to make a comparison. How did you get into? This is a great question to have in your toolbox of conversation questions. How did you get into is asking, how did you begin? How did you start? Hey, how did you get into playing taiko drums? Now, you may hear people link the sounds, and you may hear, how did ya? How did you get into? How did you get into? Let me hear you say it. How did you get into? Very nice, okay. And the last phrase that would be fun to use is, it rocked me. You don't have to say me, you could just say, it rocked. It's another kind of fresh, modern, current way to say, it was awesome, it's fantastic, it's great. So it rocked, past tense, or it rocks, present. Now, a couple of other things I just wanted to note for improving your conversations is to make connections with people. If you notice that you have something in common, you can say, oh, me too. I also play an instrument. I play guitar. So make those connections and you'll form a closer connection with that person, a better relationship. And gestures. Do you notice how when Brittany was talking about playing the taiko drums, she did this? So do that. Don't be afraid to use hand gestures. American English speakers often use hand gestures, just like I'm doing right now. Great, so thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next conversation, conversation 3. All right, bye for now.
So, Gabby, where have you been?
Where have I been? Well, I've been in Japan. Obviously, we're sitting in Japan right now. I'm from the US. I've traveled to Canada. I've traveled around Latin America, spent a little time in Brazil.
Wow.
Yeah, and you might know I speak some Portuguese and Spanish.
Wow.
Much better than my Japanese. My Japanese is pretty bad. But since I've been in Japan, I've also traveled a little bit around Asia. How about you?
Well, see, I've been to China before.
That's cool.
And I've been to the Bahamas.
Oh, nice.
And I've been to Mexico.
All right, cool.
But I love the Bahamas.
Why do you love the Bahamas?
It's just tropical, breezy, and easy.
I love it. Sounds like a paradise. I mean, when I think of the Bahamas, I think of the beach. I think of the steel pan. Don't they play the steel pan?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. I've never been, but I would love to go there. So is that like your favorite place, you'd say? The Bahamas?
My favorite place is Jamaica.
Ooh! Do you have any special ties, like in Jamaica or the Bahamas? Or
I just like Jamaica.
you're just like the food, you said?
Yes.
Oh, nice. So, is Jamaican food a little spicy?
It just has so much flavor to it.
Yeah. I remember I had some really good Jamaican food in Boston, of all places. I've never been in Jamaica, but I lived in Boston, and there's I think a small community of Jamaicans there. I am a foodie. I don't know if you are. Are you a foodie?
I just love food.
Yeah. I love, when I travel, I love to try new foods. So like here in Japan, I like to try everything at least once. I might not like it, but I like to try it. Have you tried some strange foods with your travels?
No.
Oh, good for you, because you know what? I've also gotten sick from trying all these foods a few times. Yeah. Cool, so you've traveled a little bit in Asia, a little bit in the Caribbean, a little bit, you're saying Mexico as well?
Yes.
That's so cool. Sounds like you just love to travel.
I do.
Do you like to travel solo or with friends or
With people.
with people? Okay. Why is that?
Because you feel safe. You know, like you don't know the language, you don't know the culture, but
Yeah.
when you're traveling with someone, it's like a safety net. Like someone's supporting it.
Yeah.
So it's like team.
Yeah, I like that. You don't have to do everything yourself, like all the planning, all the logistics. I like that. That's very cool. I want to ask for your recommendations about travel next, but in the next lesson.
Yes.
All right. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Conversation 3, where Brittany and I talk a little bit about travel experiences. So in this conversation, a lot of interesting points came up that I want to share with you. So let's take a look over here. How about you? So I asked Brittany, how about you? So I want her to share with me some information that I've shared with her. So how about you when you're asking someone for their opinion or their experience? When I think of blank, I think of blank. Gosh, I think I said, when I think of the Bahamas, I think of steel pan drums. So when I think of a big category, I think of some smaller category within it. For example, when I think of Japan, I think of sushi, okay? So this is a nice phrase that you could use in a lot of different situations. Do you have ties in, or do you have ties with Jamaica? I'm asking, do you have some connection with this place? I'm a foodie. That means I love trying new foods, and I love learning about different kinds of food and having culinary adventures. So when I travel, a big part of my enjoyment comes from trying the local foods. So I would say I'm a foodie. I enjoy food very much. This is a very popular word these days. Good for you. So this is just a general phrase you can use to encourage other people. Good for you. Let me hear you say it. Good for you. Great. Okay, and the last one is a safety net. So this phrase is literally just what it sounds like, a safety net. Like if you've ever watched the circus and you see people walking on a tightrope or swinging on a trapeze, you'll notice that they should have a safety net below them. And so we use the idea of this safety net to talk about other things in daily life, right? To have a plan B or a safety net just in case. All right, I hope that makes sense. You can always ask me questions. Just contact me through gonaturalenglish.com. And the next conversation, conversation 4, we're going to talk about Brittany's recommendations for travel in Tokyo. I'll see you there. Bye for now.
If you're enjoying this and you'd like to learn more, go to gonaturalelenglish.com/ebook to get the English Fluency Formula audio ebook and workbook. I created these resources to give you all of my best tips and exercises in one easy to download format. You can start learning today at gonaturalelenglish.com/ebook. I'll see you there.
All right, Brittany, I want to ask you for your recommendations about travel. Now, I know you've been living here in Tokyo about 3 years, right? Where would you recommend? Because, I've lived in Japan almost 3 years, but I've only been in Tokyo about 6 months. So I don't know Tokyo that much. Can you tell me a little bit? Where would you recommend I go?
Well, for recommendations, definitely go to your city hall.
Really? The city hall?
They got the international pamphlets and booklets, and they have like advisors and consultants about places you can go.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I think, in the U.S., I think the city hall is just a boring place you go when you get in trouble, when you have to maybe pay a parking ticket, or you have to ask an annoying question or something. I never thought about going there for travel information or tourism information. That's a good tip. All right. And where are some places that you've been in Tokyo that, you say, oh, you gotta go there? If before I leave Tokyo, let's say, where do I need to go?
The Tokyo Skytree.
Really?
Yes.
What do you like about it?
It's just big.
Okay.
And you can take beautiful pictures of the scenery and
Nice.
put it on Facebook.
Oh, yes. I'm always on Facebook, so I was posting pictures of where I've been. Very cool. All right. I'm trying to think.
Where would you recommend?
Thanks for asking. I would say one fun place I went was the jail restaurant in Shibuya. What you do, you go and they treat you like you're in jail, it's kind of weird. It's made me a little nervous. I'm easily fooled. Am I really in jail? I don't really want to go to jail, but you go there, and it's fun. It's just, they just run around and pretend like they're, what do you call them, the wardens, the people who run the jail, and and you're sitting in a little jail cell eating your food, and the food is like prison food, so I don't recommend it. It's actually, it's weird. It's about the experience. I know. I think there's a lot of interesting theme restaurants in Tokyo. And whether that's your thing or not, personally, I appreciate good food. Right? I'd rather have a good meal than maybe, well, I shouldn't say I don't like I like the experience. It's cool, but just once. Once is enough.
Yeah, and for me, prison food.
No, I'm not enticing you to go to this place. It doesn't sound like it's not up your alley.
I like ninjas. Ninja restaurant.
Ninjas, yes. Okay, different theme. Very cool. What about outside of Japan? Is there any what would be, if I asked you, what is your favorite place in the world? Where would you recommend I need to see? Kind of bucket list before you kick the bucket. Where do you need to go?
The Blue Lagoon in Iceland.
No, have you been or
never?
Okay, but you want to go.
Yes.
Okay, cool. The Blue Lagoon. Now, when you said that, I thought about a movie from the 80s called The Blue Lagoon, but that's not in Iceland. What is the Blue Lagoon in Iceland? I don't really know.
It's like a spa, a nice spa, but it's blue.
Bright blue.
It's pure blue.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Yes.
Wow. You can swim in it?
Definitely. You can swim in it, yes.
Okay. I saw in some, tabloid report, I saw that Beyonce and Jay-Z just went to Iceland, so maybe that's where they were swimming around.
Yes.
Okay. I definitely want to go. It looks beautiful.
Me too.
Cool. Well, thanks for the tip. All right, so lesson 4, conversation 4, we talk about Brittany's recommendations for travel in the city of Tokyo. So there are a lot of interesting things that came up in that conversation. Let's talk about them a little bit. So the first question, where do you recommend I go? This is just a great question, and I noticed that English learners struggle with the verb recommend and making a smooth sentence with it. So we could say, where do you recommend I go? What do you recommend I do? How do you recommend I go there? We don't need any other words. We don't need recommend to go. A lot of people will mistakenly add to before the verb, the next verb after recommend. So you don't need it. Keep it simple. Another phrase I use is before I kick the bucket. So to kick the bucket is an idiom that means to die. So before I die, it's a little bit morbid, sorry. I want to do a lot of things. I want to live life to the fullest. Next, I say have to, but I link the sounds and it sounds like have to. Now, you'll hear later on in another conversation that instead of have to, I say gotta. So why do I use have to or gotta? Well, it's just a matter of choice. You can use them pretty much interchangeably. Or you can just say have to. But I want you to know that you may hear have to and you may hear gotta, and they both just mean have to. What do you? These 3 words often get linked together by native English speakers and sound like, what do ya? What do you think? What do you wanna do? What do you do? All right? I would say, this is a nice phrase to introduce something that you want to say, a statement, an opinion, anything. I would say it's a great phrase to buy yourself some time. Let me hear you say it. I would say, and you can also say I'd say, but it's shorter, so it doesn't buy you as much time. Great. Kind of is often shortened and the sounds linked together sound like kinda. Let me hear you say it. Kinda. Nice. Okay. Whether that's your thing or not, I don't know. So if you're not sure what the other person is thinking, like I was talking about this restaurant in Tokyo that's themed like a jail, and I was feeling like maybe Brittany wasn't really into it. She wasn't really interested. So I said, whether that's your thing or not, I don't know. So I'm just kind of expressing that I understand you may not like this idea of this jail-themed restaurant, and that's okay. Last, up your alley, a great idiom, again, to express whether you're interested in something or someone else is interested in something. So I don't know if a jail-themed restaurant is really up your alley. I don't know if a jail-themed restaurant is really up my alley. This is similar to another idiom. It's not my cup of tea, or it's not your cup of tea. So when you're expressing that something is interesting or not interesting, you could use it's up my alley or it's not up my alley. Great. So I hope that you're learning some great pronunciation tips and new idioms and ways to have better conversations in English, to connect with people and enjoy your life through English. So I'll see you in the next conversation, number 5. See you there. Bye for now. All right, so we were just talking about Iceland, and it sounded amazing, like a really unique place to visit. So, you know, maybe next time we both have vacation, we could plan to travel together. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah! Awesome. Okay, do you want to look at how much flights are from Tokyo to, is it Reykjavik? Or I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right.
Reykjavik.
Is that right?
That is correct.
I always liked
it's
geography.
Reykjavik.
Reykjavik?
Or Reykjavik.
The capital of Iceland.
Yes.
Now, what's your favorite site for looking up flights?
Kayak.com.
Kayak, okay. Sometimes I use Google Flights or, there's a bunch of different ones. But, oh no, this came up in Japanese. No.
Wait, there's a flag,
There's a
English.
flag.
Okay.
Great.
Or
A
British.
little English flag for Americans.
Americans.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. How much do you think it would be from Tokyo to Iceland?
$2,000.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, when should we depart?
As soon as possible.
Okay, let's say March 1st.
Yes.
And we'll spend a month there. Why not?
Yes.
Just for fun's sake. What did I do? An error occurred.
Oh.
Okay, well, we can try Google Flights. Why not?
I love Google.
Yeah. What do you usually look at when you travel, like places to stay? Like, do you look at hotels or
I look at TripAdvisor.
TripAdvisor? Ah, for reviews, right?
Yes.
Here we go. Okay, from Tokyo to Reykjavik, $1,052.
Wow.
Round trip. That's not too bad.
Google Flights, you on it.
That's a bargain. 4 hours. Oh no, 18 hours. Almost 19 hours. That's quite the journey.
I like Google Flights.
Yeah.
Yes. Google Flights it is.
They didn't even pay us to say that. It's just a good search tool. Cool. All right, so we can go on Iceland Air. And then you look at TripAdvisor usually, right, for the hotels?
Yes.
Sometimes I use, have you heard of couch surfing?
Yes.
I don't know if there are any couches available in Reykjavik. Have you ever done that?
No.
Would you do it?
No.
Oh, interesting. I hosted a couch surfer once in this apartment in Tokyo.
Nice.
And he was a very nice guy. But I'm super busy, so I didn't do it any more than once. But now, why would you not do couch surfing?
One word. Craigslist.
Ah, yeah. You know what? That's a good point. Now I don't want to discourage or encourage either way, but I think you have to be careful. You're right. You have to be careful. There's some crazies out there. Yep. And what's the other thing? The Airbnb site. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Yeah. That's another thing. It's kind of peer to peer where you can host people. You can go stay with other people. I think there's pros and cons, right? I mean, the cons obviously the crazies, but the pros maybe you can meet nice people or have a cultural exchange. I would look at those possibilities for Iceland. Or we could stay in a hotel.
Hotel.
Now wait, one other option. What do you think about hostels? You get sick just thinking about them. All right.
Wait. Hostels. Some are really good. I heard the ones in Thailand are really good, but then some of them are really not so good.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I remember a hostel that I booked with a friend of mine in Beijing, and we walked in, and they spoke good English. That was great, but we walked in, and the whole place smelled like mildew and fungus, and like there was no air. It was so stuffy. It was just awful. We walked right out. We didn't stay. We walked right out, and we got a hotel room.
Good choice.
But the funny thing is, because we needed the hotel room right away, and the only room they had available, so they said, was the honeymoon suite. So my friend and I stayed in the honeymoon suite. We were not getting married, but it was a funny story, so yeah. Well, cool. We'll have to keep planning our trip to Iceland.
That hotel sounds like a honeymoon.
Awesome. Hey there, how you doing? Thank you for listening to Lesson 5 in Pack 1. Brittany and I are having a great time planning our travel together. Now, a lot of good phrases came up in this conversation that I want to break down for us in this lesson. So the first one is, what do you think about that? Now, this is a great way to ask for your friend's opinion. Sometimes you may hear this question with the words really linked together. You might hear, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? So the sounds link together. You don't have to say the question that way. You can if you want to, but I just want to make you aware that the sounds often link. The next question, have you heard about that website where you can rent someone's apartment? So have you heard about is a great way to ask, are you familiar with? Do you know about? Those are all different ways to ask if someone knows some information or knows about something. Next, this came up so I could say when something comes up, it appears. So I was looking at a website and it came up in Japanese, okay? So I was shocked. The funny thing is, so if you want to introduce something that is kind of funny, kind of strange, different, unexpected, you should introduce it by saying, the funny thing is. Next, we'll spend a month. Spend is a verb that we use with money usually, but we can also use it with time. So when you're making travel plans in particular, you can use this verb to spend time and to spend money. Next, why not? Great phrase when you want to say, okay, let's do it. Why not? I hear you, or I hear ya. You might hear I hear ya because you gets shortened sometimes. I hear ya means I understand, I agree. That's about it. It's very common though. Do you, for example, if you're asking someone, what they prefer or what they do, do you like luxury hotels? Do you like hostels? Or you can trail off and let the person answer you. That's not too bad. So if you want to express your agreement or your approval of something, you could say that's not too bad. Next, you're on it. So Brittany's talking about Google Flights. She says, Google Flights, you're on it. So it's a way of saying, wow, you're great, you're wonderful, you know your stuff, you're on it. Let me hear you say it, you're on it. Great, okay. And the last one, that's quite now you have to fill in the blank here. That's quite the adventure, or that's quite the trip. So if you want to say like, wow, that's a great, or that's an interesting, or that's an incredible trip, say that's quite the trip, or that's quite the idea. Interesting. All right, I hope that this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next conversation for lesson 6. See you there. Bye for now. All right, so if we're gonna travel together, I wanna know, what is your biggest fear about travel? Like, what's the worst that could happen?
Someone stealing your money and not telling the truth about the currency.
Ooh, so you mean when you go to exchange money, or what do you mean?
No, the cashiers, the storytellers.
Ah, you know what? I remember I was traveling in Argentina about 5-7 years ago, and I went to a little store to buy a magazine, and I paid, I don't remember how many pesos, but I had like the equivalent of about $20. So I paid with that, and the change I got back, I realized later, was fake. It was only about $15, but it was fake, and I felt so bad, So what could I do? But just, as a learning lesson. I know. That's the only time it's ever happened to me, though.
I'd be so mad.
I know.
Pay my money.
I know, right? Have you ever had an experience like that?
No, but I've had experience where I paid someone and I didn't study the currencies, study it, or get it out, study it, and like they gave me the wrong change back. Yeah.
In their favor.
Yes.
Not in your favor.
Yes, and I'm like,
oh man. Yeah, you always have to be careful about that, right? But sometimes you forget. Sometimes you're just in the moment or whatever. I don't know.
And that's what those long plane rides are for. Study the currency.
Study the currency, right? And practice your math. Because that's what I need to do.
Abacus.
I think for me, when I travel, my biggest fear wouldn't be about the money. It wouldn't be about getting lost. I think it would be about getting really sick and just not knowing the language and not knowing like the best doctor to go to, not really knowing how the healthcare system works. So I'll tell you something. I just bought some health insurance for when I'm traveling because I'm about to go travel. And you know, I thought, oh, it's a lot of money, but then I thought, no, you got to take care of your health. That's if you don't have your health, then what do you have?
Yeah.
You know. So that's my biggest fear. But I think, like you said, when you're traveling with friends, you can help each other out. That's the good thing. I would be scared if I was all by myself, but if I was traveling, you know, with you or with friends, like I would feel much better about that.
Yes.
And I could, you know, double check your money.
Me too. Money, money, money.
It's important. Money makes the world go round. Hey, I hope you're enjoying our conversations about travel. And in lesson 6, I asked Brittany, what's your biggest fear? What's the worst that could happen? This is a really common phrase and a great question that you could throw into your conversations if you want to know about the worst case scenario. Ask, what's the worst that could happen? Let me hear you say it. Go ahead and let's say it together. What's the worst that could happen? Remember that when you have a WH question, your intonation goes down. What's the worst that could happen? Wonderful. I also say for me, so this is like saying personally, in my opinion. So if you want to talk about your own opinion and emphasize that, you could say for me. Great. I also say, I'll tell you something. Now, of course, it's not necessary to say that I will tell you something. However, this is a nice phrase you can use to introduce your opinion and a nice transition. Next, this is an example of linking sounds that happens in American English in particular. What I say on paper is you have to. Now, what I actually say in real life, the sound that you hear is gotta. We don't write this, but you hear gotta. And sometimes you might hear I've gotta, or you might hear I gotta, or you gotta, or he's gotta, they've gotta. So this is a very casual way of saying have to, but it's very common. Is it correct? No. Is it common? Yes. Can you use it? If you want to. It's up to you. Last, there's a great idiom, proverb. Money makes the world go round. So, whether you believe it's true or not, it's a very famous, common saying. Money makes the world go round. I think you can guess the meaning, but basically money is important. It makes things move. It gives people some motivation, right? So if you're in a conversation and you're talking about the importance of money or finances, you could use this phrase, money makes the world go round. So I hope that you enjoyed this lesson breakdown, and I'll see you in the next one, lesson 7. Bye for now.
Gabby,
Yeah, Brittany.
why do you travel?
Ooh, that's a good question. I travel because it's the way that I can learn about life. I can learn about the world. I can learn about myself too when I travel. I feel like when I'm outside of my home country, I learn more about myself than when I'm even in my home country, if that makes any sense. Like, it helps you realize what you are, what you're not. And I just love the freedom that comes with travel. Like, I'm all about freedom, independence, like exploring the world. So I think those are my top reasons. And also, I just love meeting new people. Mm-hmm. So getting out of my little bubble at home What about you? What do you think?
I like to travel because I watch TV. You know, I watch those clips on Facebook, and it just seems cool. Like, I just want to experience the culture, and I just want to be there. Like, everyone's perspectives and thinking is so different.
Totally.
So, I want to know, what are you thinking?
Yeah. I know that a lot of people learn English because they want to travel and then talk with people from all over the world. And we're lucky. I mean, we're native English speakers. Definitely helps when you're traveling, right? I can't imagine if I didn't know English, what would I do? Well, I'd have to try to learn another language. I love learning languages, but it takes time, takes a lot of effort. But I wanted to ask you about what kind of travel do you like? Long-term travel, short-term travel, or like how can I say, like going to the spa type of travel, or like adventure kind of travel, or like what kind of travel do you like?
I like easy breezy travel.
Easy breezy travel. So would you be more likely to say get a package deal, like a tour, like everything all inclusive? Would that be your cup of tea?
Maybe, or maybe join a couple groups on Facebook and then just ask people and make some lists and have a friend.
And always have a friend. You always have a friend. But I like that because you're researching things independently, right? So you're not like, just handing over your money to a travel agent and saying, here, sign me up for something, right? Okay. That's cool. That's cool. I would say I'm kind of the same way. I like to research things on my own. I don't like traveling with a big group of people I don't know.
Me neither. Because, one may have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Or like, one is allergic to this type of fish, or one's like, oh my god, I'm so scared of water. And I'm like, see,
come on.
Yeah, no.
I know. I think traveling with a few friends, great. But like more than 5 people, I think it gets tricky. It gets tricky because it's harder to make reservations, say in a restaurant. It's harder to please everyone. It's harder to even choose the restaurant you're going to go to. Right? I want Mexican. Oh, I want Italian. I want Japanese. I'm on a diet.
Or I have to go to the bathroom. Come on now.
It's always somebody like, okay, who needs to go to the bathroom? See, I started thinking like this because I used to teach at camps. And the little kids, they always have to go to the bathroom. So I always ask. So if you have to go to the bathroom, you can go now. And we'll see you in the next lesson. Hey, thanks for listening to Lesson 7 from Pack 1. Brittany and I talking a little bit about why we travel. There are a few phrases from the conversation that I'd like to bring to your attention. So let's talk about them briefly right here. The first one is, that's a good question. Now, I use this phrase to respond to Brittany when she asked me, why do I like to travel? And to give myself a little time to think, I say, that's a good question. This is also a good phrase to use just to show you understood the question, to show that you appreciate the question, to show that you're going to respond. So let me hear you say it. That's a good question. All right, next one. I feel like this is when you're giving your opinion. You can start your opinion out with, I feel like. So this is saying, in my mind or in my opinion. It's just another way to say it. So of course, in English, it's great to have an assortment of different phrases that you can use to express yourself. The next one, if that makes any sense. This phrase is used to show that you understand you may or may not be clear in your explanation. So if you want to confirm that your conversation partner understands you, say, if that makes any sense. Next, what about you? Now, you might hear this said in different ways. What about you? Or how about you? Or what about you? So you may hear different pronunciations of this phrase depending on the situation, if it's more formal, more informal, depending on the speaker. So let me hear you say it. What about you? Okay, great. You know, I mean, these phrases are used as fillers, and some people don't like them. They say, don't use these phrases. They don't mean anything. They're just taking up space. And it's true, but you're going to hear them. A lot of people use them, and if you want to use them, you can too. Next, I want to ask you. You may hear, I want to ask you when we speak quickly. So let me hear you say it. I want to ask you. Great. So you can use this phrase to introduce a question or to transition the conversation to something you want to ask. How can I say? This is going to be really useful. If you can't think of the word or the phrase that you want to say immediately, use this. How can I say? Even native speakers have to stop and remember some phrases sometimes. Now, a couple of strategies that I use in the conversation are, first of all, to repeat. When Brittany says she likes an easy breezy vacation, I say, easy breezy. So repetition is a great way to show that you understand, to keep the conversation going, and also to help you to remember new phrases. If you just repeat them right away, it will help you to remember them. And emphasis. Brittany uses emphasis when she says, me too. So you can use stress or emphasis to show your added feeling, to show that you really agree. You could say, me too. So let me hear you say it with feeling, like you're really agreeing with something I have to say. Me too. Awesome. All right, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in lesson 8. All right, let's talk about dream trips.
Yeah.
We both love to travel, but I know, for me anyway, I mean, I don't know about you, but I always have a budget, right? Mm-hmm. This time, just once, I just want to go wild, just think about there's no budget, there's no money. You can just spend, it doesn't matter, like money's no object. I'm thinking like long-term travel. I would make a long trip. And I don't know why, but the first place that popped into my head was Egypt. I'm like, I'm at the pyramids. I'm on a camel. I'm in Egypt. What do you think?
Camels? Camels?
No? I guess I'm kind of adventurous. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing a camel, or maybe, no, I'm switching it up here. Maybe Thailand. Maybe, like, don't they have elephants in Thailand?
I thought that was, wait, isn't that Indonesia?
They probably have elephants in Indonesia too. I've always wanted to go to Thailand, but I want to think about luxury. Like, I want to be in a 5-star hotel in Thailand and then Egypt. Both. Why not?
I'm thinking, if you want luxury, Dubai.
Really? Okay, well, I've heard Dubai is one of the richest places on earth. And everything's really expensive, which doesn't matter because it's a dream trip and we have, unlimited funds. But what would you do in Dubai?
I would go to the desert.
The desert?
And like put some of the clothes be like,
But wouldn't you be on a camel? You were saying camels.
yeah, that's some camels.
Okay. I would go shopping. I heard in Dubai there's some good gold markets. I would go buy a bunch of gold jewelry. And I don't know what else. I would just go, I would buy gold jewelry, I would eat some good food, and then I'd go to Egypt. Where else would you go?
Tokyo Disney Sea.
Really?
Yes.
Tokyo Disney Sea. Alright, so here's a little known secret. I've never been to any Disney anything.
Whoa.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Most people have, I guess.
Well, I've been to Disneyland. I've been to Disney World, but I've never been to the Disneys in Japan. I've always wanted to do that.
Oh. There's Disneys all over the world, aren't there? There's Disney Tokyo, Disney Sea, Paris. Isn't there Paris?
Yes.
Somebody was telling me about Paris. And of course, there's 2 in the US, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been to any of those. Theme parks? Never been my thing. I don't know why. Maybe because we never went when I was growing up, I just thought, that's weird. But, maybe I'm just afraid. Like, you know how some people are afraid of clowns? I'm afraid of those dress-up Disney characters.
It's good to be scared because I'm scared of those lines. Those annoying lines.
The long lines. That's right. I do not like waiting in lines. Not at all. I would rather go someplace that's a little empty, a little, just no lines. No lines. I don't want lines. How do you feel about cruises?
I love the cruise.
Wow. Easy breezy.
Yeah.
Nice. Have you ever been on a cruise?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so luxurious.
Yes.
Where was it cruising around?
To the Bahamas.
Oh, so you mentioned you've been to the Bahamas. It was on a cruise.
Yes.
Sweet. All right. Would you do that again?
Yes.
Oh. Would that be like a dream trip? Or would that be like, I don't know.
I think it was to Jamaica.
Okay.
That's a dream.
Nice. I'm just imagining, I would definitely want some spa days. I think it's so luxurious to, like get your nails done, have a massage, maybe get your hair done, and just feel like totally pampered. I mean, obviously, like I'm a woman, this is what I like to do. I don't know what would men want to go to a spa? I don't know, maybe. Depends on the man. I also want to go, hang out with camels. It doesn't have to be just, it could be camping with the camels too. But I need a spa in there, so I just want to do everything. I'm like all over the place. Well, cool. I'm going to keep making my list of my luxurious trips, my, bucket list trips or whatever. That's cool. All right. Well, thanks for talking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, so in lesson 8, we talk about our bucket list travel destinations or travel experiences. So you may know, but bucket list is an idiom that means something you want to do before you die. So if you have a bucket list, you may have some places on it that you'd like to travel. Now there's some other phrases from this conversation that I'd like to talk to you about. So the first one, money's no object. This means money doesn't matter. So you might hear this if people are asking you, just about your dreams or what you would do if you didn't have to think about money. So it's a useful phrase. Another phrase that I really like that came out naturally in this conversation is the first thing that popped into my mind is, or was, you could say is or was. So this is when you want to say something that just came to mind, something that you didn't think about too much. You might also say, off the top of my head, the first thing I think of is. So you just want to explain that, you didn't think too hard about this answer, it just popped up. Next, a little known secret, or sometimes people will say a little known fact. I shared with Brittany a little known fact that I have never been to Disney World or Disneyland. It's true. Another phrase, it's never been my thing. This means that you're not really interested in this thing. So, going to amusement parks has never been my thing. So you might use this phrase to talk about something you're not really interested in. And to emphasize that, you could say not at all. I don't like something, not at all. Adding some extra emphasis there. Now, a couple of techniques for better conversation that I would encourage you to use is to repeat, so repetition. I say, to the desert, I repeat something that was said in the conversation. Now, you don't want to do this too much, but occasionally it can be great for filling that silence. American English speakers don't like silence, so it's a good phrase to use to fill that silence. And have follow-up questions ready. Like, have you ever done something? What do you think of? How about? Blah, blah, blah. Have several follow-up questions ready for various situations that you might want to talk about in English.
And follow-up expressions to show that you're interested and you're listening, like, really? Or wow, or fantastic, or oh my gosh, or that's great. There's so many different follow-up expressions that you could use. So I encourage you to choose maybe 3 expressions that you feel comfortable with, that you would, feel are fun to use in conversation and express who you are. So it could be, wow, really fantastic, great, nice, cool, or whatever you like. There's a lot to choose from. I can't wait to bring you lesson pack number 2 with 8 more conversations, this time with my special guest friend, Arnell.
Arnie.
Cool.
Brown.
Arnell is a cool
/
name.
Arnie Brown, yeah.
It's kind of unique.
It is very unique.
Huh. Does it have a story?
I asked my father,
Yeah?
it's a true story.
Yeah.
I said, Dad, why did you name me Arnell? And he was like, I don't know, it sounded cool.
Arnell is from San Francisco, California, and he talks about his love of music. So the theme for lesson pack 2 is music. Different artists from the United States that you might be interested in listening to, ways to talk about the music you love, ways to explore American culture through music, and more. I think you're really gonna love talking with Arnell, and I hope that you'll come back for lesson pack 2. All right, I'll see you there. Bye for now.